Hello everyone and hello people here. So the main thing that we're going to go through tonight, just in regards to from all of the board members, is the status of how the departments have been going so far, to understand what the projects have been going on, to understand how things have been moving, and also at the same time to recognize the internal successes as well as failures within the department, so that we can work on that in the future. We've also got some questions that have been posted already online, which we're going to try and also answer today. And then also any questions that you have in regards to any other aspects of things, we can also answer. I'm going to begin, and then we're going to move on to, after that, we'll move to Sasha as the secretary. So you'll hear from each board member, and you'll get to understand a little bit more in regards to everything that's been going on within the departments, etc., etc., etc. So the primary period that we're looking at is the first provisionally period, which has been from January until now. So that means the board 2016 has been in place for just over 4 months now, of which we've had our biggest project has just ended. As you know, is the regional sessions, which have taken place in 4 areas, in Volin, in Sumi, in Cherkasy, and in Zatoka, which just happened this weekend. But I'm going to present it more in regards to how things have been going on my aspect of things on the presidential side. So the key information in terms of what we changes and what either you can call them as successes or different things that we push through on the organizational aspects of things. As most people are aware in regards to that, we've had a restructuring within the actual organization, which meant that we do not use the leadership group that was present as last year anymore, which has caused some problems and some confusions, of which we are also addressing in regards to how we push forward the information, the correct channels of which we use the information, as well as where the decisions lie within the organization. So we've attempted to at least try to put more of the decision power or more of the decision-making process into the elected board, but at the same time we have opened up channels as one of my key goals in regards to trying to involve the wider EYP community. That's how we moved in regards to the official members, because the official members group, which was created now, was a platform which didn't exist beforehand last year. It's now uniting all of the official members of EYP Ukraine in regards to, after that they've joined officially in regards to membership, or however the membership process is, what they are, that they have access to all of the opportunities and all of the events and things that exist within the EYP Ukraine community that people can work towards. At the same time, one of the key goals that I had in terms of as a vision when pushing forward to the regional sessions, which were going to be done, was to change them as how we've had them beforehand in the past. So this year is the first time that we've had in EYP Ukraine 3-day regionals, 4 days for officials. Beforehand it used to be the EYP weekend, and we had the Interrail tour. But this was definitely a very ambitious and new project, which has been stressful for sure. But at the same time, I would say I think personally in regards to how it has run, quite successful. It's been a ambitious venture, but we've had at each regional session approximately 40, let's say on average 40 participants. I know the Sumi session I think had a little bit less. But in comparison to other projects that we've had last year, so for example in regards to the Interrail, which was also done as an outreach project, you can see that there has been a significant increase in regards to how we've managed to target inclusion aspects of EYP people and bringing new people into the organization. A lot of the people who were at the regionals were newcomers, which was really, really, really great. And at the same time, because we opened them up in regards to these umbrella regions that we had, we're moving one step, in my opinion, one step closer to being able to start covering the entire position of making sure that we can reach out to everybody in everybody in Ukraine in regards to the youth, to try and push things towards and bring things up. It was an ambitious project, it was very stressful, and there were some problems that happened, but we've resolved everything at the moment, and we need to evaluate it. We are moving in terms of the evaluation afterwards, because the last regional has just ended, so you will have to bear with us in regards to how we can see the long-term development of the actual project. Another aspect in regards to inclusion opportunities, which we're trying to push towards on more of the organizational side of stuff, is to try and involve ourselves with more projects. I recently, yesterday, had a meeting with GoCamp, which is an initiative that's looking to put forward language and opportunities to youth all over Ukraine. So this is one type of partnership that hopefully we're going to be pushing forward as well. And we're also trying to open up on a financial side of stuff in regards to what directives we had from the international office to try and provide opportunities for people who maybe aren't part of EYP Ukraine, but if they are trying to involve themselves with some type of European outreach project, to also provide them support in some way, shape or form. This is something that we need to develop on a little bit more. We already had a couple of inquiries from some individuals who, for example, are going to an event at the European Parliament, and we need to just work out exactly how we can support and reach out to the wider community as well, because of course we do work within EYP Ukraine, but at the same time it's a good opportunity to us to bring more people or to try and do new things by including other individuals. On my personal side of things, I've been quite heavily involved with the academic content of firstly in regards to the regionals, so along with some members of the board who helped me kind of brainstorm in regards to how it was. The topics, primarily, I helped manage to create, which was, we thought were pretty okay for a regional session in regards to their simplicity, but also relevance on the issues. And as we move towards the nationals, this is where we're going to try and open up a little bit more for the EYP Ukraine community, also to be involved in regards to having the opportunity to help develop the topics and the academic content that is going to be part of the National Selection Conference, which is going to be a lot more academic heavy for sure in regards to how things are going to be pushed forward. I personally am in regards to supervision of the NSC in Dnipropetrovsk and the EYP Ukraine training camp, both of which today finally we had some good prospective news in regards to being able to consolidate these dates, of which the EYP Ukraine training camp should hopefully take place at the end of August, and fingers crossed, once we get official confirmation next Wednesday, the NSC should take place at the beginning of August in the second week between the 9th and the 14th, 15th of August. And that's going to be confirmed next week, which means that we can then move forward in regards to how we're going to be pushing towards the organization of the officials and the academic content, etc., etc., etc. So I know a lot of people have been curious about how we're going to develop, especially considering that this is the biggest project. It's not because we haven't been able to provide this information, it's because we've been trying to negotiate and find the right type of information so that we can give the answers to these questions that a lot of people do have. Originally I had made 3 main goals, which when I looked through my original manifesto for election, that I wanted to kind of touch on in regards to how they've been achieved so far or how they've not been achieved. The first one was regards to organizational efficiency, so being able to push towards the micromanagement of the departments, because I see it as quite a responsible role that we have board members for each department, HR, PR, international activities, fundraising, etc., etc., and that there should be some kind of self-development aspect of it, that they're able to manage the departments themselves. Some departments have been running more successfully than others. International activities has been a great department, has been running quite successfully under the supervision of Natasha. HR has been running quite reasonably well. Fundraising has its pros and cons, but it's been also going okay. There have been some problems with PR as well, but PR will address that later. And regional development also has had some problems in regards to how the structure of it is. So we're quite aware of that, and we're quite aware of the issues that exist. But at the same time, this is why we're trying to do this, so that we can address the issues and understand what they are. On the grassroots development aspect of things, a couple of the things that we've tried to do have already taken place. So in February, we had the kind of open house training for new officials or prospective officials, which was organized by Natasha and Lera, I believe, which was reasonably quite successful, I think. And it's something that we can continue pushing. So I'm glad that we managed to have that aspect of it, because my key goal was to try and bring the youth or the people who are involved with EYP Ukraine at the moment to be able to have more of an impact in different things and to be able to try and bring them up. I know we've had some new chairs at the regional sessions, which has been great. For example, Mariam here, who was a delegate beforehand, has now moved on to a chair, and this is exactly the type of progress that I personally wanted to see. and I'm glad that I've managed to start seeing that in regards to that. What we are going to do also in regards to response to what types of events that we're going to have in the winter, because our main 2 events are happening this year in the summer, but we've decided that in the winter, and this was from advice from Natasha, and I think it's a great idea, and it's something that we want to do, is that on the 1st of May, so now the regionals are over, what we can do is that what we are going to do is launch an open call for initiatives from the EYP Ukraine community for an event, and more of a local scale, smaller event that manages to find itself in terms of self-funding or in terms of having a strong fundraising capability, because there will be time to promote or time to develop that event as an initiative from someone within EYP Ukraine. It's the same thing that we've had similar in regards to the training camp. The training camp that we're having in the summer is an initiative from EYPers, and we feel that this type of movement in regards to the success of a project or the idea coming from someone within EYP Ukraine is what will make it more successful, because they have the motivation behind it. So we don't really want to, and especially I don't want to address, say, okay, we need this, 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 but rather see what ideas exist and try and promote them and help develop them, because that will also help in regards to development capacity and the way in which individuals within the organization can be responsible in the future, or be the future leaders, the future organizers of events, which is super, super important in developing our capacity. Partnerships and development is something that we haven't really, it's been more not of a fail, but it's something that we really need to work on. We have a partnership with the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, which the guys are sitting here. We also have funding in regards to from the international office, but that's really not enough in regards to how we can do things. And it's something that I personally want to try and work towards more now in regards to it. This is why it was quite useful meeting the Go Camp initiative yesterday in regards to that. I meant to possibly have a meeting tomorrow with Mustafa Naeem in regards to what type of support we can get more from the Ukrainian side of things. And there are some more things that are still on the grassroots level that I'm trying to push towards, but I can't really give more information in regards to that because I don't have anything, and that's my key goal to target on from the next year. My personal challenges that I've had in regards to this has been, as most of the EYP Ukraine community is aware, and here that with me living in Budapest, it has been challenging to have that type of communication with the board. And it's not just me who doesn't live in Kyiv, we also have a board member, with a board member being in Cherkasy and a board member being in Kharkiv. It makes it a bit difficult, so this is kind of problematic and something that I want to work on. Internal cohesion and making sure that we try and communicate with each other in the right way has been quite problematic, so we need to address that in regards to how we deal, because the majority of our conversation is taking place on online forums and things, so this is another thing. The 5-year strategy, which is next on the target list, so that we can look at the long-term development of EYP Ukraine, as well as the fact that we're not too sure and looking to develop how to communicate the right information on the right channels to make sure that transparency is achieved, because everyone needs to know what's going on and people need to know what's going on. We recognize that at times, yes, we do have problems with communication, but this is something that we are trying to actively work on, and it's something that we do need to work on. And as well as me personally, and for most people, in terms of balancing their time, because we're all volunteers at the end of the day, and that I have university, I'm doing my MA, most people are doing their MAs or bachelors or have other personal commitments. And trying to balance that time with EYP and university is incredibly challenging, even if you have a job as well, which sometimes we do feel that we don't get that understanding from maybe the wider EYP Ukraine community. And it's something that we would like people to be aware of, because we are also human at the end of the day in regards to that. So these are things that we're working on. This is more of the end of my presidential aspect of stuff. We're going to move on now to Sasha to deal with the secretarial aspect of stuff. And then once we go through all of the boards, we'll take more questions and we'll deal with any of the online questions. So sorry that I took it a little bit more than 10 minutes. But I hope that was interesting, and I hope it has any questions. If you have any questions, please make sure to write them down, and we'll move on from there. So, next.
And to be honest, this presentation was quite hard to make, mostly because my job is kind of a shadow one and does involve a lot of interesting stuff like that of other board members, so it's going to be much shorter and much more boring.
We still love you.
Oh, I love you too. I don't know if it's that. Anyway, so throughout that period, I have counted that I have submitted 136 documents, which is quite too much, and I'm afraid it's not quite normal, but in terms of us having 4 regionals, quite a big project, it's more or less okay. Also, 16 potential EYPs conducted. I honestly have been receiving messages on all platforms, and to be honest, I've been quite frustrated to take up on that responsibility, but whatever. A partnership discussions held, and that one made me even more frustrated because it was much more official, and it took me minutes and even hours to come up with an appropriate answer. 7 EYP meetings managed. That one is boring. 4 sessions, just as all of the board. It's just the responsibility of the whole board and mine as well. And I've been suffering with all of those people. And one president met from the airport. Which was basically the most ridiculous thing ever. At least I have an EYP placard right now.
Sasha, who is the president? Okay, one person was Ukraine.
Let him continue, please.
So, multilingual database of document drafts. It was quite disappointing to find out that we don't have all the documents we might be issuing or have been issued at one place on multiple languages with which we are working, meaning English and Ukrainian. And it actually takes a lot of time to draft a proper one. So I've been actually considering to create one and probably make it public. And I hope to cope with that task in the next 100 days. Online document request form. It actually turned out to be quite frustrating to receive requests for various forms and documents on all platforms in all social networks. Facebook is basically not for work, and it gets stuffed with all chat room and all the rest, and it's quite a problem. I basically can't remember what I am supposed to do. That's why it's quite important for me, and it's another task for me for 100 days. Open schedule. I still haven't decided how it's supposed to work, but I actually think that EYPers, the whole EYP community, has to know what and when we are supposed to do. And that's a challenge as well. And EYP anniversary, which is unfortunately for me and for you, my burden and my responsibility for organization of it in June 2016. And I really hope you will enjoy it. I really hope that. Secretary assistant, and that's exactly the problem and probably the only solution I came up with. Actually, I've been suggested to get one in winter when I've been taking out my responsibility. Yeah, I really like that last one, but please try to laugh less right now. So why do I need it? First of all, lacking time. Actually, university is my first responsibility, and it's more important than EYP, and in that aspect of it, I actually need someone to share my responsibility with. Not being Kiev-based, unfortunately, I'm not Kiev resident. I studied here, but unfortunately, whatever happens, I have to rush home and deal with things. And as far as it happens, there's no one to share that burden with me. Needing support, which basically derives from the previous one. And finally, that one when you finally can laugh, because I don't want to be the only one in the board who doesn't have a team. I'm personal slave, as I call it. And I'm really sorry for making it too fun. It was supposed to be more official, but whatever, because I really don't know what to put in that presentation. And trying to be much shorter than Sharbaz in that application. I really hope that you don't get discharged in me. So thank you, and who's the next one?
Me. Can you help me with the presentation though?
Yep, sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sasha. Okay, so we're going to move on to PR now.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Oля Budinska and I'm currently the head of PR department. And right now I'm going to tell you what we were doing for the past 4 months. There were ups and downs. So I hope we will have an opportunity to go through all of this together. So, yes. So what we're going to talk about today is regionals media coverage, the website, department work, so how we're working within the department, how did it go, how it should be in the perfect world, and what to do next to actually achieve this perfect world. And if you have time, I would also, I'm not sure about the questions and answers.
We'll do them at the end. But
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and the questions and answers we will do at the end. So we will start with the regionals media coverage. So what was done? First of all, we had very new concept because before that there were no such a thing as regionals in EYP Ukraine. We had EYP days, we had EYP weekends, just 2-day sessions, but this year, as Sherry already said, we decided to create completely new approach, completely new framework. So we have created the special logo and promo materials and stuff specifically for this project, the idea behind that. As you can see, that were used on the banners, on the issues that were issued at the different sessions, on the videos, and other type of things. We have, this year when I came, I decided that that would be, try concept of PR coordinators, that was not implemented before. What it is actually all about. PR coordinators are people that are working in the PR department and who are not actually a part of each particular organizing team of each event. They're kind of supervising the PR part of the each event, of each regional. So if we had 4 regionals, each regionals had 1 PR coordinator who was in charge of media coverage, composing press and post releases, sending them out to the not inside media, inside media coverage, but outside world to make them know about our events and our activities. The next thing is coverage in social networks, which was Contacte and Facebook mainly. We have created new pages because new events, new pages, specific page for regionals in Contacte that is right now, I believe, 257 subscribers, and event, as well, not event, but Facebook page for regionals in Facebook that is around 700 subscribers currently. There were also small events for the particular project, for the particular event in Contacte, but all of the information was kind of duplicated and doubled in the official pages. The next thing is coverage in media that I said. The PR coordinators were composing special press releases for each event, and they were sending out these press releases to all, as many educational and media, business platforms, where the platforms with opportunities for educations and students, where people could get to know about the opportunity and take part in this. And the very last thing there was centralized development and distribution of printing materials. Basically, before that, we had the thing that every single organizing team was developing its own printing materials. But this year, we wanted to try to make it more centralized. So there was a special person assigned in the PR department to develop that all. You can see bracelets, pages, and placards that were developed within the PR department. So, and now my favorite part, what should be improved and what was not that good as we expected. So the first thing about the that was the PR coordinator supervision. Basically, we're all people in the non-government organizations. Who we are people who have no experience but really want to learn something. So there were always some struggles with coaching those people to let them know what to do, how to do that. And that was like the first time people were writing press and post releases, we're sending them out. So that was kind of struggling and tough. Yes, coverage in the social network, that was one of the bullet points that was noticed. So yeah, actually the coverage in social networks of the regionals could be better than it was. The main thing was that basically all of the main information was posted on the regionals that has way less subscribers at the official pages. So so that would be better if we could cover regionals more on the official pages of European Youth Parliament Ukraine in the social networks, Contact, Facebook, as well as cover Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Issue to make it more to make it more covered, so that and make more reminders and stuff. That would be even better, I believe. Broader media coverage. What I mean here is that the PR coordinators who were sending the press releases, they basically covered the internet platforms, but they didn't cover TV channels and radio channels and this kind of stuff. So that would be better if we could do that next time. And like just a small thing about printing materials distribution. Again, people are not that experienced, so we had some problems with time management and actual distributions of those materials. But that is really cool because regionals, it's like the first time of regionals, the first time we developed those materials, but for the next year people would already have them and they will not need to develop them once again. So like we will just storage them, which is a good thing. So we are moving slowly to the website, and yay, super cool. We have launched the website this year, new, very beautiful designed website that is we are all very proud of. Yes. So what was not that good about the website, taking into account that it was in both languages, English and Ukrainian and stuff, there is still some bugs, which means like small typos, yes, that we need to work on and like read it once again, even though we have proofread it thousands of times, but yes, still we have it. And one more very important thing about the partners page, it's not that updated, so basically it needs to get more updated, I would say, and more covered, that we are going to work on. That is really, really important. The bullet point I want to emphasize on this, partners page, we are working on this, we're coming there. Yes, and about the updating of the website and development and special content for the website. Currently we are having only one website moderator, which is absolutely not enough. And we want to make it more up to time, because sometimes, there was an event and we then posted about that event in 2 weeks. That is not like that's good. So like we will try to do everything what we could to make it more up to date thing. Department work. So what we have right now is basically active members. It's like, as you can see, it's just one SMM manager, Tulia, like the people who are actually working, like not the ones who are subscribed to work there, but who are actually do stuff. 2 PR coordinators, 4 journalists, 2 proofreaders. Unfortunately, and I'm going to the what to improve part, that is not enough. Definitely we have lack of human resources. That is so true. And people who do work, they are mostly unexperienced, but very, very active and really motivated to work and try stuff. But that is also not enough, because we need some time to coach them and make it like to give them that experience they came for, right? The other thing is EYP Pigeon is our corporate official newspaper that, yay, we've made 1 issue this year already, which is super cool. Yes. And you can also see that, basically EYP Pigeon, we have 1 person who was editor, layout designer, as you can say, and there were 5 journalists who were writing the articles there that I'm personally really proud of. And I'm slightly coming to the what to improve part. You can see, yay, EYP Pigeon is here as well. What I mean, unfortunately, people put so much effort into writing it and layouting it and preparing it, and no one actually reads it. So what I offer, like there will be some suggestions in the perfect world idea, how to put this effort and make people actually read what our journalists in our department is doing. Yes, super shortly we're going to have proper photo bank on Flickr and with all of the most beautiful pictures that we can use within the department and like all the other people as well. So to see the activity of our organization. And knowledge sharing and materials bank, why is it important? Because sometimes when you come to the position, you have no idea what to do, and then when you have some storage, some resources, some manuals, some booklets, something that has already been done before, there is a huge help. And right now, I'm kind of storing and preparing it for the future kind of generation to help them to get involved and like to know how to write at least press releases when you haven't ever done this before. So yeah, that's what we are working on. Yay! In the perfect world, how would it look like? In the perfect world, the activity of PR department. Yes, so the very first bullet point is website domain info resource. So currently what we have, all of the information that we are giving out is first of all in the social networks, which I personally consider to be not professional, first of all, just because it's social network. Second of all, we have an official website and we can use it. And third of all, sometimes social networks do not fully cover everything what we want them to cover. So what I would do in the perfect world is to actually write all of the content, all of the small overviews and descriptions of the events in the website, so that I would use those people who write articles for our official corporate newspaper to write articles for the website, and then just repost the website and share the website link in the social networks. Because like that would look more professional, and that I think would be a great idea of using the human resource potential and actually make it more professional. Yes, active full coverage in the social networks. Unfortunately, yes, that was our weak spot. I need to accept it. Like with regionals, there was not a full perfect coverage in the social networks, which we are going to improve by posting the very last like kind of recap of the project with all of the numbers, what, who, where, how many people took place, who were the main partners, sponsors, who helped us and support us. That is also very important to mention. And also to make the same recap in the website, just to remind people how was it, who was there, and what we've been doing. Experienced and motivated PR department members. Yay, people who know what to do and how to do that and really want to do that. Because actually, we have this problem that as soon as people know how to do something, they leave the organization and they are not anymore the part of the departments. So yeah, I hope that we will have those motivated people to work and get their experience. Just distribution of the task within the PR department. What I mean here, that's just the thing, that the head of PR department ideally should just distribute the tasks and trust the members so that the tasks will be done on the high level, which I cannot be proud of yet, because I know that my department needs some coaching yet, and I need to help them to develop themselves, and I need to first give them the experience and then ask something back. But in the perfect world, I hope that there will be just distribution for me. And yeah, super short, self-explanatory PR knowledge sharing bank that I said before. Yeah, just for people to know what to do, how to do that, and to have a place to check the rules and stuff and guidelines, just the guidelines place. Yeah, everything is possible. Yay. What to do next? First of all, what personally our department is going to do tomorrow, let's say. The first one is regionals media report. Every year, at least last 2 years, we've been doing media reports. It's kind of booklet where we show where all the press releases and post annonces of every single session that was covered, how it was covered, in which resources. So basically, you could see how many websites and portals and channels were covered. It is coming. It will be soon. Update of the website. Regionals overview, partners page. As I said, we're working on this. Everything will be done. Develop information partnerships. currently we have lots of I don't know, art organizations and events who wants to be not just like, I don't know, advertise each other, but just become partners at some point. And I think it's a really cool basis for us also to promotion our organizations through the information partnership. Currently, the very last one is with GCI conference that I think we're going to discuss afterwards with the board as well, because every single partnership we discuss within the board. Create unique content for social networks. Yes, it's easy just to repost something from somewhere, but like maybe, not maybe, but for sure, there should be some unique content posted, not only on the website, but on the social networks as well. Some statistics, facts, information about our organization in general. That hasn't been done yet, unfortunately, but we think it's a good idea, and this is what we're going to develop. Yeah, and the very last thing that is super pleasant for me is develop new concept for our national selection conference that is going to be in August. Developing the logo and all of the promo idea, like colors and stuff that I'm really, really excited about. So yeah, I'm sure we can do that. So thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Cool. Thank you, Olia. From PR, we'll move to regional development. Great. Sorry, technical problem, hold on. There we go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Skorobreszuk, and I'm board member on regional development in 2016 with this wonderful team. I'm going to present to you the work of regional development department so far for these 4 months. So, animation. So it's not gonna be about just the department, but BAM. It's going to be about personal development too, because what we discussed in the board, that we have two sides of the coin, the kind of official one, academic one, and also the personal one, because being a board member is a great personal challenge. So what did you do so far, regional development, would you ask me? Basically, main regional development achievements would be the 4 regional sessions which we just had finished, which is regional session in Cherkasy on the first weekend of April, Volyn, Lutsk City on the second weekend of April, Sumy the third weekend, and Zatoka, as Sherby said, just ended. We just came from Zatoka and just finished our marathon of regionals. Yeah, again about achievements, we had about a bit less than, but about, still about, we're going to have a huge number here, 200 delegates, integrated all over Ukraine, because we had, thanks to our sponsors and partners, like general ones for EYP Ukraine and also local ones, we had an accommodation for every single delegate and official. That's why we had an opportunity to have people from all over Ukraine being hosted at every session, which is cool because the concept was to have not just delegates from this very city, for example, in Sumy just people from Sumy, but also to call delegates from all over Ukraine and also Europe, and not just Europe. So basically in Zatoka we had Armenian delegation. Also we were supposed to have Latvian delegation, but something happened with their tickets, I think. Yeah, Also, we had a selection for our national selection conference in August. So officially, 10 delegates at each regionals were selected and invited to come to our NSC with no application form. So they showed themselves as good delegates. That's why we invited them to our regionals. Actually, we haven't yet, but we're gonna do that in the nearest week, I think. Yeah, we're gathering the information and everything, and HR is dealing with that. Yeah, we had international officials as well as active integration of Ukrainian fresh officials, which is I personally think is great because with each year we're getting more and more active Ukrainian EYPers and give them a chance to apply for the position of officials, chairperson or journalist is the great opportunity because when they are just first-time officials, they are not most fortunate to pass to some foreign sessions. That's why we give them an opportunity to go to our sessions. Yeah, and also we're bringing the new tradition of spring regional sessions, which is going to be a tradition, I believe, because last year and the year before that we had EYP weekends, which became a tradition, but this year we took a challenge to develop it in something bigger. So we took a challenge of organizing 3 days for like I messed up with it a bit.
4 regionals for 3 days.
4 regionals, yeah, which dured for 3 days each, which is huge, I think. Yeah, which plans am I having as a board member of regional development? What we planned with the board is to have 4 newcomers days in those cities where we had regionals, but unfortunately not enough people applied for head organizing those newcomers days. We're gonna still discuss it, I think, whether to have it or not, or just to have one newcomers weekend in May in Kyiv where we could gather all the people who want to come, and actually that will really show who's active and inspired enough to come to Kyiv for this weekend. Yes. Also, this is a no-no for regional centers in 2016. So basically, in my manifesto, when applying for the board, I had 2 main points, which were to turn EYP weekends into regional sessions, which is unbelievable. And actually, on the first month, I was told that it's not really possible to do, but we did it. Also, the second one was regional centers, which is probably not going to happen this year. We're going to discuss it in our strategy. Probably it's going to happen next year or in 2018 because it's a huge thing and we need more human capital for that in regions because imagine that we have to create at least four, preferably 5 regional boards with at least 4 people in each. And that should be really active and capable EYPers to actually hold and manage this regional board. So far, we don't have those resources. That's why, for this year, it's a no. For the concept of next year or the year after, it's a huge yes. Yes, and while having much more human capital in regions, why not to hold small events as presentations, etc., which is going to be discussed too with the board. But when I talked to, recently I've talked to a few people who are also both members on regional development in other national committees, and I asked them what is regional development for them, and they told me that these are just small events in regions, which all newcomers are actually holding on their own. So basically I thought that probably we don't have to have just big projects as sessions or marathons or national selection conference, but at least EYP presentations or small EYP days or understanding year courses, which I'm going to talk about later. Why not to encourage young UAPers who are still, for example, chatting us on Facebook, I mean from regionals, and Stalker in UAP Ukraine page, why not to use them for those small events? Yeah, and also, which Sharby was talking about, launch the call for projects for autumn/winter. So basically winter, it should be December, because the next year is not ours. Still, I'm not sure if we're going to provide the next board with the projects, because probably they want to have their own projects. But for autumn, that's 100%. We're going to launch the goal and see what people want to do next year. Yeah. What did I do so far personally? Yeah. Maybe the achievements of mine would be making sure the dreams come true, because it was really unbelievable to hold 4, again I'm messing up with numbers, 4 3-day projects in 1 month, and also to prepare them during 2 months, because actually projects like this has to be organized at least half a year beforehand, but we did that in 2 months. We are extremely happy with that, and that is the achievement of the board at its whole, and also the head organizers of the sessions, which are amazing guys who took the challenge to do that in such a short time. So basically, impossible is really possible, as Ola said. Yeah, I understood how the team should work, and I'm going to improve that, because I work with the board, and I'm going to talk about my department a bit later. Yeah, understanding of a knowledge usage, which I mean here that we actually have a lot of documents and guides developed for the organizers, chairs, everything, but we didn't really use them, and we didn't give them to the head organizers, which was it was not even a decision. We just didn't do that because we didn't think about that. But actually, previous boards, they developed that for us, for future boards. That's why next time we have to find all of the maybe some ancient but really useful things and use them next time. Yeah. Understanding of the time management, but also self-management, which I meant in my second point, that we have to prepare that at least half a year before. That's why we're gonna launch the call for head organizers this year, somewhere in September. So not in December, and not to select them in January, but 4 months in prior. Which plans? I'm happy. It is actually a plan to form a department, because Sasha, I'm not the only one, you're not the only one without a department. I also don't have a department, and I was managing everything from my side on my own, which appeared to be really hard. It was really hard to develop the concept of the department, because you as a board member in regional development is a project manager, and the question appears, who do you need besides yourself, because you're a project manager, who can help you with stuff. That was the board this time, but actually we found out that board has much work to do but my projects. So I'm actually willing to have HR coordinator, PR and FR coordinators, which are going to cope with regional development projects and also keep in touch with other board members, but still other board members won't be that in charge of regional development projects. Also, we have such a project as Understanding Europe, which was messed this year because of bad communication with the coordinator of Understanding Europe, because coordinator didn't really know how to prioritize and what to put on the first place or on the second UAP or her own work or something, and we really tried hard to make it real, but we didn't make it up. So we're gonna have a new Understanding Europe coordinator, and we're gonna work it better next time. Yes, also using small events and understanding Europe for NSC promotion. We are short on time for NSC, and we have to start working on that already on the PR. So we need those small events. Yeah, we want more international officials. That's why we need better PR on our official page, I think, which will show that we are active and we are worth coming to Ukraine, although we are Eastern Europe and no one knows what to expect here. Hashtag expect unexpected. Also, we want to have a better HR. I don't really remember what I meant by this. I
It's
think
likely in coordination and
yeah.
Great presentation, love it.
Yeah, it's talking about personal. Yeah, this I have. Here I have a great quote. Action may not always bring happiness because it's really hard to do a lot of stuff. When you have a desire, you want to implement this small project, but instead of that you have 4, and it's hard. But there is no happiness without an action, which I think is true, because if you don't do anything, you don't have any joy of what you can do and no happiness as a result. Also, I realized it takes a lot of time and a lot of strain. When I try hard, but I cannot manage it on my own, I need the team, I need the department. Managing all of that needs good management skills, not just thinking that, oh, it's happened on its own somehow later. You also have to be self-organized. Actually, EYP takes almost all of my free time. And from time to time, like, I'm happy of that, and then I'm pissed of that, because I don't really have personal life because of that. I hope to organize it better, so I really have free time. And also, I want it to become a system, so basically, I want to have a stable situation for the next year. So it was a good decision to have those big projects next year. So next year, we're launching the call earlier. We know how to do that already. We know how to look for head organizers, in which regions, how to do that, blah, 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 HR, PR, and everything. So basically, we need to create a system of how to make a project real and just give the following board instructions how to do that. Yeah, so the future is coming. That's almost the ending of my presentation. Yes, that was just 4 months of our work, and it's just gonna be better. And we're gonna hit the goals that we put right now, as I do that in Ninja. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, we're going to move on to HR now.
Hello everyone, my name is Vera. I'm in charge of human resources. This is my department actually. I decided to put not my picture but the picture of my department because they did a lot for human resources direction in general. So yeah, 5 people, quite efficient actually number of people in the team. So yeah, first about numbers. So we have like the first thing with which human resources department is dealing. These are official members. So we have 120 people who actually decided to continue their maybe not so active but still participation in EYP Ukraine. So they are official members still so from previous year. And now we have 52 new members. This is after our regional sessions, but also some international sessions. So they can also become official members after they attended any international session. Okay, so numbers up to regionals. As we can see, SUME was the most successful session in terms of new people in the organization, but it doesn't mean that these sessions was organized like the best. It's just about actually human resources during the session.
Quality, not quantity.
Yes. But yeah, we have those numbers. In general, it's good because I hope that those people are the most motivated. And actually, I've been to only the talk original sessions, and I noticed that actually people who were not that active during the session, they became official members. So it means they want to grow, they want to attend other sessions and be more active. Okay, so human resources is not only about members, but yeah, first direction it's members. So these are some new things which where we managed to implement during these 4 months. We now use a new tool which is called Podia. So this is basically a project management tool where you can see all the applications coming from new members. Also we have new database which is actually EYP Austria helped us to create it. So before it was just like Google Drive, Google Form, but now it's website where we can actually save all the contacts, all the official members we have from previous years, which is useful because, and we also can have contacts of teacher there and our alumni. So these are all members who were involved in EYP during, I hope for the future, it will be during many, many years. New policy on mailing groups, it means that we sorted out our mailing groups. So we have official members mailing group, and there are more like unique opportunities for only official member there. And we have also EYP, it's called session participants mailing group, where we send less opportunities, but it's for people who participate in our sessions, so they might not become official members, but they still receive some more opportunities from us to be involved in the future. Happy hours. Happy hours, these are informal meetings for our members. We actually did only one happy hour during these 4 months, which is bad, but it's because we were busy because of our regional sessions and other events. That's why actually not many people came, but still, we had one. Alumna. So it's also kind of a new thing which we implemented during these months. We had a huge mailing group, alumni mailing group, but it was, there are like 150, I guess, people there, but they are not active in EYP anymore, and this group was kind of dead. So when I sent the information about like further involvement and further plans about EYP, actually only, it was less when I sent it to Google group, but only I think 15 people responded me, and so this application form is about just their contacts. So the thing is that we decided to renew our alumni database, and in the end we have only 27 people who wants to contribute to organization in the way they can, because they have work and stuff and mature life. But we still have some people who are ready to contribute. It's not about numbers, so if it's 27, then it's 27, but still it's something. It's more about plans. We want to rebirth our alumni fund. which means that alumni can contribute to our events, and we will report them to where we spend this money. Teachers, human resources is also dealing with contacts with teachers. This is, I would say, success that we have a few teachers on our 2 regional sessions in Cherkasy and Toka. Also, it's all about plans, and we will discuss it with the board. We plan a teachers training. We hold a few teachers trainings before, but last year we didn't do that. That's why I think, yeah, we have trainers for teachers. So we just need to organize it and find more teachers and more contact teachers. Also another my responsibility is partnerships with other NGOs. So we set some partnerships. Reanimation package of reforms. Now they have a working group on youth policy, and they invited us to participate. So I'm representative of EYP Ukraine there. There were a few meetings already. There was also a meeting with Ministry of Youth and Sport. And these are also a few youth organizations. And Go Global is for actually Sherby said about Go Camps. So this is our new partnership, which is in on the discussion already. Okay, and some critical approach for me. So what was, I think, done good and bad? Good that we actually changed a bit the strategy of human resources in general. So as I said already, we have new database, new tool to use, and not quantity but quality. It means that before actually one could become a member through our website, but it was inefficient because some people they become members and they didn't participate in events, so they were not active. And now we decided that we actually you can become a member only after the sessions. After the session, it means that you might be more active when you already saw like what we do in session, chair. So you are more motivated to do something in the future in the organization. And this is the new thing. And I hope those 52 people who are new, they will be. So I hope this strategy will work. We will see. So some bad sides. We had some plans, some more plans that I mentioned. So this is, the first thing is about my department. So I have, like all my departments, they also experience lack of time. That's why if I set the deadline is after months. The problem is about communication as well. We had only one meeting. One girl from my department is already studying in another country. I think we should have more meetings because it's all about work and they lose their motivation if we don't meet. And a newsletter. So actually all opportunities which are coming from other initiatives, organizations, they are coming to Human Resources Department, and I feel like we overwhelm our members with other actually non-EYP opportunities. That's why we decided to launch a newsletter of those non-EYP opportunities. So I do think that we should send them because actually we try to involve our members not only in EYP but also in social initiatives in general, but sometimes it's too much. That's why we hope to launch this newsletter. So Alumna Fund, it's also a plan, but I think it's a good resource for us and actually a good tool to involve alumni back to the organization. And the thing about happy hours, but I think that happy hours should be more in cities, because we did one in Kiev, but it means that only people from Kiev can come. That's why it's more connected to what Lisa said. Yeah, it's the last thing. What Lisa said, so we better do happy hours in cities to connect people, not only in Kiev, because in Kiev we already are active and know each other, but in other cities. Yeah, so that's it, I think. Yeah, thank you for attention, and questions will be.
So we have 2 more departments to get through, and then the American councils have been kind enough to let us stay a little bit for more of a Q&A at the end, so just bear with us. We're going to move to international activities now, and then after that would be the final one with fundraising.
Well, I will also try to keep it short and structured, like not mostly short but structured. Hi, I'm Natalia. I'm board member of international activities. So basically what I'm dealing with is the international aspect of the organization, both the representation of us abroad and the welcoming people to our country for our project. So what I will be talking about is mostly about me as a board member, then the department, and future areas of improvement that I see. So let's come to the board member aspect. What I have done for this period of time. So I'm taking the period from January to April, and first of all, my January started actually with reporting to the international office. So I was filling in the census report, which international office of EYP launched to see which activities were taking place in the national committee. So I was responsible to gather the information about the Ukraine. So I've done this, and thank you everyone who actually helped me to have all this information about that. And also I had some talks with the international office as well, explaining what we have been doing in 2015. And as a result of that, they are distributing the spots for their main project, which takes place 3 times a year, so the international session. And I'm glad to tell everyone that we are keeping high standards, and we're having 9 spots per each international session, which is the maximum amount of spots that each national committee actually can get at the international session. So I do consider it a great success, and thanks everyone who has contributed in 2015 and who has helped me to gather everything for the future sessions. Also, as a board member, I'm responsible for the representation of our national committee in the board of national committees. Basically, this board of national committees functions as each half of a year they're gathering in Berlin to discuss the issues within the EYP as a project itself. And currently, we have 38 countries who are participating in EYP as it's not initiative. Not taking into consideration initiatives, but just the countries where the EYP has been established as an organization. So the next meeting is taking place in May, to which I'm going with Christina, who was kind enough to help me with that, because this will be my first meeting. So currently I'm preparing for that, looking through all the agenda and the issues that we need to consider as the board. So in the very next week, I will deliver a summary of what will be discussed in Berlin to the board, in order to have the opinion of people and then to represent the voice of our national committee there. And also, I'm coordinating the process of development of the Ukrainian National Committee strategy for the 2016-2020. So basically, we are now, as Shirley said, going to establish and to develop the strategy for our Ukrainian National Committee. which means like which goals we have, which key values we have, what do we want, how do we want to reach these goals. So we are working on that as well. Then as for the NC involvement, yes, I'm vice presiding, and I was also supervising, as all of the board members have done. So I was supervising one of the regional sessions, which was the last one in Zatoka, and also me and Lera, we initiated the training for the chair people and the journalists, which took place in Kiev in February. So that were currently like my involvement as a board member, the initiatives that I was responsible for. As for the department, so basically what I have now, currently I have 6 members in my department who are active. In regards to activeness of members, then how it's going on, basically all the initiatives mostly are coming from my side, since I'm learning and all the people in my department are also fresh enough to implement their own ideas, but they have already developed a lot for these 4 months. So now I'm seeing more and more initiatives coming from their side as well, on the aspect of things like how to improve everything and stuff. But mostly how it worked beforehand is that I was responsible for initiating something, like mostly what I was doing, I tried to increase the amount of events that Ukrainian EYPers can go to. So I was basically knocking on the doors of other national committees, asking that, okay, I know you have a project and I have people and I want to send my delegation to your project, and whether you will be glad enough to give us spots, and they actually gave. And then people who work in my department, they were mostly doing operational work, meaning that they were supporting people, they were supporting the delegations in all the documentation stuff and all the informational support as well. What has been actually, what I'm glad about that has been launched in the department is we a bit reviewed the academic preparation aspect of stuff, because there are a lot of inquiries like how we can prepare people not technically but also academically, because on the technical side of stuff I do think that we are okay with coordination but not with the academically. So we came up with the initiative to make a sort of booklet that will have the information of actually why you need to prepare to the event and then how. So I mean, including all the tools of how you can do that, like the websites where you can find the information, because it's hard for Ukrainians to figure out where to look for information about the Europe and stuff. So basically now I'm taking part in development that together with 2 members of my department, and we are hoping that we will make it work until Vienna Forum, and then we will try out this whole thing and how it will be working in the Vienna Forum. And after we are sending out this booklet, we also are planning for each delegation that is going somewhere to have a sort of Skype meeting, which will be not about like telling something people academically, because I see no sense in that. Because mostly when people are having Skype, they're doing something aside, and these Skypes proved out to be not that much productive, but mostly like a Q&A session. Like if you have any questions in regards to the event and in regards to the academic aspect of stuff, and like anything that you can do it on that Skype if you are interested in that. So basically my approach in the preparation is that I will provide the tools of how you can do that, but if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to prepare, well, that's your problem. Sorry. I mean, I cannot make people learn or anything like that. Also, I'm currently approaching other national committees in order to get delegations to the our national selection conference. Beforehand, I had only contacted directly about the spots, and I had received a delegation of 2 people coming from Slovakia. But I couldn't approach people in regards to that because we still don't have exact dates to propose to people, but as soon as we have, I will also approach other national committees, making the general mailing about that, and also going into details to approaching the countries. I do consider that they can send someone to our event, and Also, currently me and Sherby and Alona will be working on the development of the next travel grant initiative within the BASIS project, because we have received the travel grant again, and now we will all work out the policy of how we will be actually distributing money so that encourage people to go abroad and to support them to the most that we can. So that's basically an overview of my department. Then we will go some statistics so far. As we can see, this is a map of Europe, and with yellow are all the countries marked where Ukrainian EYPers have been during these 4 months, which I consider to be quite nice. So if going to numbers, 61 trip was affected by Ukrainian EYPers. Then these 61 trips were made by 51 individuals, so meaning 51 different people who were traveling somewhere from Ukraine to international EYP events. From that, there were 33 delegates. None of them was actually repeating, so we have sent out 33 delegates to the international events like national selection conferences and forums abroad. And also 28 officials took part in the events abroad as well, which is also a representation of our national committee. We visited 16 countries. In regards to delegations that were sent as like delegation, which was in order to describe the process, we asked for spots in the international event. We received these spots. We launched the selection process within our national committee, which I'm responsible for. Then we select people, and then we are supporting them until they get to the event, and then they're coming back. So this is how the delegation is looking like, and we had such type. We had 7 delegations, and we are having 4 future delegations that are actually already confirmed to be visiting something. So as for the past delegations, yep, so you can see which delegations we had. So 5 people in Poland in January, then 9 people in Dublin Belfast session, 3 people in Chechen regional session. In Armenia we had also a delegation of 3 people. In Luxembourg 2 people went. Estonia 6 people, quite a huge. And in Salzburg we had 2 delegates representing us. Beforehand, for example, we never been to Austrian events, which I do consider to be success as well. And we have not that much been sending delegates to Poland recently, so we are trying to reach new horizons as well. And as for the future delegations, there is the Vienna International Forum delegation coming with 3 spots. We have already selected people to rise in the summer international session. Then 5 people will be going to Polish National Selection Conference in September, and we are also sending a delegation to the Istanbul Youth Forum, which is quite a huge event. What I'm personally proud of is how we selected people to rise, because this was the first time that when we were selecting a delegation as our board. So beforehand it was done by international office, but not this time, because that was a requirement from the international office. But I do consider this selection to be quite effective, because it took 2 stages. Firstly, we were reaching everyone who had ever had a contact with EYP, like participated in sessions and stuff. So we sent out them the information that they can apply. Then we were reading out the application forms, and basing on the application forms, we also made interviews, personal ones, Skypes and phones, during which we were making the selection quite competitive. And basically, I do consider that we have selected a very nice delegation. And also, we kept it short, like 3 days, and the delegation was selected with this whole interview thing, which I'm also proud of. These are some of our delegates abroad. So we also can see that basically we are having fun there, we are having debates there, we are speaking out, and yeah. What I am saying about the future improvement is, what I don't like is currently how I am dealing with the coverage. It's not about the PR, it's about how I'm dealing with the coverage of people, of recognition of people who have represented Ukraine abroad. Because currently how it's taking place is that, okay, delegation has gone somewhere, we are posting a small post like, hi, there are our people in Tallinn, or somewhere, something like that. I do not consider it to be quite feeling in regards to recognizing the fact of the successful representation of us abroad, because I do consider it important. So what I want to do in the following months is try to, together with PR, try to develop the concept of what we are doing with this aspect of things, like how we are writing about our people abroad, and how we are encouraging them and motivating further people to apply and try to show to participate not only in Ukraine but on the international events as well. Also, what I'm quite struggling to do now is to do selection reports, because mostly I'm responsible for, I'm the head of the selection panel of all the selections with the help of other board members, and selecting 2 or 3 delegations a month takes time, and I haven't figured out how I should do the selection report, but obviously I will, and I do consider it to be necessary for such a report to take place. So my plans are to issue this report and to figure out how it should look like for Vienna selection, the last one I made, and the Rice selection as well. Also, people asking for feedbacking their applications, which I'm also willing to deal with to help them, because I do consider it to be an important aspect. And also, in regards to the department, yes, I have 6 active members. Unfortunately, I haven't had a meeting afterwards, after they started working, so I had only the starting meeting when we all gathered and I explained of what we are going to do next. But during the whole process of when they were supporting delegations and dealing with the operational work within the department, I haven't met them personally, which I do regret, because all of my department is currently in Kiev, and what I am planning to fix in the following months as well. So basically, yes, I don't have a funny picture in the end, so thank you for your attention.
So we're going to move on to the final department now, which is fundraising. I'm just going to load the PowerPoint. But Natasha, can you just also explain how many people actually applied for example, those small spots, or did you cover that?
Yeah, like we got only 2 spots for the Luxembourg national selection. We have got 42 applications for that. So I mean, the selection was quite competitive, I would say, and a lot of Ukrainians are currently interested in going abroad. And despite the fact that we even haven't had the travel grant initiative, so basically that means that they need to fund their travels by themselves, they are still applying and they are still willing to go. And they are from very different regions, and seeing that high number of interest, my personal goal is to reach as many events abroad as possible to provide them with the opportunity to go. Because when they're coming back, they're becoming very active in the national committee, and they're doing a lot for Ukraine as well, because they're getting inspired. So yeah.
Cool, thank you. And finally, to finance.
Hello, my name is Alona, maybe doesn't know. So I don't have any funny pictures, and my presentation is not so creative as guys had, and it's really cool. But for me, being a board member on finance department, it's running and doing and negotiating with partners, and also be cute for partners and be a bad policeman for head organizers. But anyway, just I demanding on the quality of the session. So I'm going to tell you about my kind of achievements and what my our Department of Finance has done already and what we are going to do. Our work started on the January, so it was the introductory department meeting. So I think every department had it, fundraising training, division of responsibility. So to be honest, I was against of the regional session project because it's kind of big project for the beginning of the year. But anyway, I think we quite succeeded with it. Yes, we hadn't much time for fundraising, but anyway, the head organizers succeeded in regional fundraising of each city, so it was quite nice. My department is dealing with different grants, and this year we we are like managed to write the LTF grants, and we were like so glad to get to the second round, but we failed with it then because they said that's not they really want to have this year. But anyway, we will keep continuing filling the grants, and it won't stop us. So like, of course, what finance department should do, it's like proposals for each of the sessions. So like for regional session, we have quite nice proposal of 3 versions, like English, Ukrainian, and Russian. Also, our department wrote different support letters to foundations, like you can see Open Hearts, Pinchuk Foundation, Yudanya, Fond Bogdana Gavrilishina, and etc., etc. Also, nevertheless, finance department always making a cold calls to partners. So, for example, we have already made to Danone, Nestle, McDonald's, and some others big Ukrainian companies. So, also for this year, we still have a great and like a really appreciated partner, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, that supported Zatoka and also supported other 3 regional sessions with stationery, and it was really quite nice and super. Also, we have Intertelecom. They provided us with 9 vouchers and 1 phone for the secretary. But like, I don't know why I'm telling you the numbers, but I think it's important. Because like it's fundraising, it's finance.
Sorry, it wasn't in the secretary's report that he got the phone.
Yeah, but it's not like a mobile phone. It's not a phone, like so.
It's not a great
okay.
phone, and yeah.
Also, what I'm happy about that NSC budget is finally secured, and we have 3 like partners, basis like foreign office costs and Intertelecom, and we have of course some potential partners. So we are going to negotiate with them, and I hope we will succeed. So EYP UA training camp, the budget is secured, is like 65% of it. It's still like the basis cover it, and also Intercom will provide it with super fast 3G internet. Also, I think it's very important for finance department to make a postcards for partners of regional sessions and also potential sponsors for the whole year. So, like it will be done by April 28th. That is tomorrow, and I hope that I will send it on Friday. So, I think the partners will be glad. Also, our department made a report of regionals, of each regionals for Intertelecom, with photos and everything, and also like some press releases, so I think it's quite nice. Also, as Shelby has already told you, that NSC dates will be confirmed like next Wednesday, like May 4. So I hope everything will be okay. And also, we are in the process with proposals for EYP UA training camp and also for NSC. I hope so that active fundraising will start for EYP UA and NSC from May 10. And so that's it, kind of, yeah.
So that was probably quite a lot of information to take in, but we do have some time now just for more of a formal Q&A in case any people here do have some questions. There are some questions that we received from people online, which we hope to address too. So we'll deal with that first, and then afterwards, perhaps we'll have more of an informal Q&A, and we'll go out for at least 1 drink of some sort. That doesn't have to be alcoholic, it can also be non-alcoholic, because we don't promote either of the 2. Of the individuals here who have, do we have any questions on any different any aspect of anything? So this is why also we can address some of the questions here, and then afterwards we'll try and address some of the questions that we received already online. Christina, go ahead. And please feel free to direct it to me, and I can direct it to them, or direct it to anyone who you'd like to.
I'm
everyone. My name is Christina. I'm head of the auditing committee in 2016, and also everything that's going on with you is really close to me because last year I was exactly in your shoes, to be precise, in Chad's shoes. So I have some questions, but I will just ask one or two. One would be, I've heard, I'm sorry I came in a bit later, but I came in for a presentation of PR and regional development, and I've heard that this were more of confessions. And I'm just wondering, why do you think things didn't go as planned? That's one. And two, I've heard about regional development, planning to develop a department. The practice over years has shown that this is very hard because there is no personal connection with people who are in different cities. And motivation gets lost pretty fast if you're alone in your city pursuing things people don't understand.
I will go first, if you don't mind. About the things why it didn't go that well as planned, why we are not in the perfect world yet, according to my presentation. In my case, there were exactly personal reasons. I need to say that in my department, people are not experienced enough to take the responsibility and to understand the level of what they, how the things should go. Yet, unfortunately, and for the past 2 weeks, I have to kind of pass away, but not pass away like die, but like in a way that I had to take a break due to personal reasons, like a bit, like I was not that involved in EYP as I have to be as a board member due to exams and due to exams in my university mostly, and because of the university reasons most of all, and I was leaving for 1 week. So yeah, and I think I didn't explain that precise as I had to. I didn't coach enough my PR members of my department how to do stuff as I expect them to do. So that is why we didn't reach that high quality as I and other board members, maybe you, respectful alumni, expect us to reach. So that's what we are going to work on in the short term, actually. So that was just because of my absence. That's the core problem I believe.
I mean, I just want to add in too in regards to the fact that perhaps maybe in terms of manifestos and things, when we originally thought perhaps we were quite ambitious in regards to how we perceived things. I think we had, at the beginning it was quite difficult in regards to trying to get the right information, and also, I mean, the knowledge sharing process didn't go as smoothly as it could have gone from the previous board, which I think was quite difficult in regards to knowing the right type of information and being able to get the type of information, which is also something that we see will be incredibly important for the next board, and it's something that we really want to push towards too. But also, I mean, we do.
Yeah. This are thoughts of every single board.
Yeah.
That board was bad. No sharing.
No, I don't think. I'm not saying that the board was bad. It was on both sides. I mean, because the thing is that everyone does have their own personal commitments. Everyone's got their university, and everyone's got their different things, and it makes it difficult to try and find the right type of allocated time. I mean, like I know by being able to talk to each of the board members, I know what their commitments are and what they do, and I don't think people realize how much stuff that we are doing outside of EYP as well as within EYP, which is something that I think that a lot of alumni and a lot of people are forgetting at times, because we do have, EYP is not just our entire life. We also have other things as well, which means that maybe things go not as smooth as they could have gone, but that doesn't mean that we're not trying to make them go as smooth as they can. But it's difficult because I mean, I know a lot of people also say that everything is a learning process. It is a learning process, but one of the core reasons why we even had this was to identify for ourselves what our core mistakes or problems that we have had in the past couple of months, and for other people, and why we have questions online too in regards to, so that we can see what other people are thinking in regards to that, which I think is really key. And I'll let Lisa go for regional development in terms of the board.
I'd like to go first to the first question, then to the regional development point. Why didn't everything go smooth as it could go? I think now I have 3 things in my mind. The first one would be we spent much time with the previous board member on regional development, while discussing how is it not possible to realize that and why is it not possible, but not discussing that about how to do that actually. And I think we had several Skype meetings and we were arguing a lot to continue doing EYP weekends or to establish something bigger. And we didn't talk about how to actually implement regional sessions. And I think I could get much useful information and much useful, I think, advices from Mike, but I didn't get them because we kind of burned into arguments about that it's not possible and don't do that. And then we decided upon doing that, and we did that on our own because of, I don't know, maybe it was something about emotions on that side, but actually the thing is our ambitions stepped over our knowledge exchange with the previous board on my side, on the regional development side. Then I think that was we discussed with Osta Vojtova, that we didn't use all the previous experience we had from the previous boards, not just from your board, but everyone who tried to put all the information needed for organizational staff and all the guys I mentioned there, we didn't use them, and that was bad. And we're going to use them, of course, we're going to raise the ancient documents that we might have somewhere in the archives, something, and we're going to use them because, yes, we have to if we want to have a successful organization. And then I think the third one, which is just crucial, the lack of time, because with, again, our ambitions, we wanted to put that into real life in 2 months, which was crazy. And again, next year, it's going to be more stable, opening the goal in September, and having had the organizers being active already from October. So basically not from January, but from October, which is October, November, December, at least 3 months or even 4 in prior. And about regional development department, I don't aim to have all those people from regions in my department. I just need 3 helping hands for all the projects, which are going to be not just help from the board members, because board members are something huge, and I need small people dealing with PR, FR, and HR within the project management of my projects. So my department is going to be those 3 people, maybe more, but for now it's 3. And all the people from regions, they're not going to be, they probably are going to be members of RD, but I'm not sure if it's needed. They may just become members and register for doing presentations or happy hours or UAP days, whatever. So these are not members because, or maybe they may become members, but I will have my own core team, something like that.
So I think to summarize what Lisa said, no, but also is that it's something that we need to have a conversation about and think about too in regards to what we can take from the feedback in regards to how we've seen it and to try and structure it in regards to how it can work. Yeah. Anything else?
My side will come later at the drinks.
Alright, okay. Anything else? Yep, go ahead.
My name is Josep Babic, I'm the auditing committee member. So, thank you very much for your frankness during the presentation. So I appreciate it much that it was both, I would say, successes and challenges. That's the way I will put it in your presentations as you did, with pros and cons. I just saw that maybe 2 points that are crucial at this moment is alumni engagement, because it was too little about alumni involvement or sharing experience, just a few spots about alumni funds. So how do you feel about that, of engaging more with alumni or previous leadership members? And the second one is on socializing, as probably Sharbi is constantly here, back on the Ukrainian soil. Do you plan any more socializing events, to make both the board team and the the EYP community more socializing, because probably it was missing.
I want to first comment on regards to the alumni issue. So this is something that I have realized and we have discussed at times, is that we do feel that EYP Ukraine has not a problem, but a problem with the concept of what an alumni is. Because for other national committees, and when I've been talking to other national committees, it's much more easier for them in regards to that. An alumni is someone who, for example, has been to an international session and then they become an alumni. But in EYP Ukraine, I think we have it a bit different in regards to if we made alumni in terms of everyone who went to an international session, then almost the majority of official members or of EYP Ukraine would be considered alumni. And thus, we realize that there's a need to redefine and strategize exactly how we define and what we see as alumni, or how alumni can be identified. It's a question that we've been trying to deal with even since January, when we met in January in Lviv, because it came up into the idea of how, when we think of the alumni mailing group or how to engage with the alumni, well, who exactly are we engaging with? Because is it the older EYPers who are not that active in EYP anymore and then have a job? Or then do we go in terms of the international, of the EYP aspect of things, and then go with people on the international session? But it's a problematic aspect that we really need to work out, and I guess in regards to this, it probably would be quite useful to look for engagement with people who were previously in leadership, to ask them how they would respond to the idea of what alumni is, etc., etc. But we also have a problem in regards to the fact that despite that we did even put an open call, I put an open call out about a month ago in regards to call for a working group to start developing on the academic content of the NSC. No one responded to that at all. So when perhaps I don't know if there's negative attitudes in regards to the fact that we removed the whole leadership thing. I know it is increasingly problematic and a lot of people are concerned or have issues with that. But on the greater scale of things, in trying to branch out and open things, opportunities out to everyone, it doesn't help us when people aren't reacting in the right way, because there should be a position where people can help and contribute to regards to things, because all of the people who have the capacity and have the ability to help contribute into these fields of things were individuals who also were in leadership beforehand. But now that we don't have that, the question is, why aren't they really involving with it? I mean, like, what was the function of it beforehand, and where's the push now? I mean, it's a difficult question, I think, for everyone, and it's something that I think a lot of people need to think about in regards to what their priorities are, not within EYP, but how they see the organization. And it's not about making decisions or doing different things, but helping contribute. And in that way, we can help target what the alumni is, or how we can identify where alumni will kind of push towards. Sorry, that was a very long question in regards to the alumni aspect of it. But it's problematic to try and identify basically what alumni we're searching for. And it's something that we do. I think we will reach out to ask people to help us with finding the right strategy to see what alumni is. And I forgot your second question, I'm sorry. What was it?
It wasn't socializing, but you could pass it to any other board.
On socializing.
Is it about socializing within the board?
Within the board, or
Yeah,
you mean?
all the members.
With alumnus, yes.
It was just general, so hey.
Yeah, okay. As for alumni, just to clarify from my side, because I was also dealing with that. So these 27 applications, these are actually people who are not involved in EYP now. So they have already jobs and stuff. So these are not those leadership members who are still active in EYP actually. And these people, for example, there was a question about alumna fund when I sent those applications. So they will not be involved in EYP anymore. So I think that, yeah, the more they can do, it's a contribution. It's all about money, and we are sending report to them because they don't have time for this kind of involvement as we have some leadership members. And yeah, the next issue about socializing, as for happy hours, as I mentioned in the presentation, I think that it should be more like in a cooperation with regional development, because we do need more happy hours, but maybe in different cities, because if you do happy hours, it's just for people from one city.
I could just,
Yeah,
it's not
it
related
was
to me
about-
actually, but about the socializing. For example, it's also about the initiative from the members themselves, because, for example, board member on HR, she cannot just organize all the socializing events and stuff and be just burning of ideas wherever we can to go and have a drink or something like that, which we are always doing in formal situation as well. It's also about the initiative, and what we are struggling now in big work and what we are dealing with in 2016 is that actually not that many members are having and willing to do something, so which we are trying to push towards, with having more structured vision of what we want from them and how we can help them in that. But for example, when Alex raised an idea to have a happy hour, we are very much welcoming such types of things as well, and thank you for that, because for my personal opinion is that yes, we do need to have a vision of that, and we do need to have a vision of like how to gather up like formally, but in regards to like informal thing, whether it should come from the board itself, it's for me, for example, a question. So, I mean, all the contributions are welcome.
I think we'll take one more question and then we'll move it to more of an informal discussion.
Two questions.
Sure, that's okay.
One quick question to, so my name is Moritz from the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. Was very interested to see your presentations and to understand more how you're working. I was wondering, for public relations, you need a lot of social media. Let's just take Twitter. Do you think there's really an added value of using more than 2 social media networks, let's say Facebook and Kontakte, and then even a couple of more, because it's a lot of extra work? And the second one, maybe just a quick feedback on fundraising. From our perspective, I think you sent us a pitch with different events to sponsor, which was actually quite helpful for us to look over it and think about what would fit our portfolio, or basically our goals of our organization. I think that might be also useful for other organizations, because then you don't only get like one project and it might not fit your goals and you just don't even look at it any further. But if you have different events of the organization, you might think, okay, well, this is a fit, this one doesn't fit us so well, so you can actually choose. And it's very important to have a couple of, you had, for example, I think one of the events you have in August, which is basically an internal team building event. So from our perspective, we looked at it and said, okay, no, probably that is nothing we want to support, because we want to have something with a lot of multiplying effects, where lots of people, not from your organization, but new people participate. Just that as a perspective from the person you're aiming your fundraising at.
Thank you. So about the PR thing, so like last year we had 4 main channels. It was like in terms of social media, it was Kontakte, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Instagram and Twitter, there were some content. There was not super active, and it was not up to date. So it was not like live stream because of different reasons. Because someone didn't have an access, because of different reasons. So basically, it was not that up-to-date thing. Twitter, that was just in the form of reposts. So when I came to my turn, I was like, oh, Instagram was not that successful. Oh, Twitter was not that successful. Maybe we didn't need them. And then during my, these 4 months, I was not using this. And then, when I was preparing this report and stuff, and I was analyzing how were these 4 months for us in terms of PR and social networks and coverage, I was thinking maybe Instagram and Twitter is a good idea at some point, but just to change the flow of it. So if we will really try to contribute and use Twitter, not just a repost from Facebook, but give some content there, like write, for example, strategy for each of social media, and yeah, exactly. So like just plan what kind of content. Maybe it will be the same, but in different, how to say, framework, in different way. And then what we will try to implement, we will try. I cannot promise anything. We will try, and then we will see how it works, and then yeah, according to the result, we will see whether it's valuable for us or not.
Well, Facebook and Contact is two main.
Yeah, basically currently they are two main, and they both are the ones who are working right now. But we will try not only leave them like that, but kind of improve them, because currently, to be honest, we don't have this planned written strategy for each social media, and I see it as a problem because we really need it, because without it it's kind of vague. So yeah, that's the field for us to work on.
Cool. So I'm addressing you, and I'm also addressing the video that we're recording, because we're going to post this online afterwards, so for everyone who couldn't get here to listen to the debate and understand what was going on. There were a lot of questions that we also received online in regards to the upcoming, before this event, which we will, where when we meet tonight, we'll be able to answer them and hopefully post answers to these over the next, at least by the weekend, because questions on successes, on more failures, but some of the questions have also been answered in our discussions. I hope people watching the video eventually enjoy listening to all of this. I hope people here have found this interesting, and I mean, I know within the board, we also found it much more interesting to understand the dynamics within the departments. So thank you, and we're sorry to have run over time, only by 25 minutes, but it's actually because we started 25 minutes late. So if we had started on time, it would have been perfect. But yeah, sorry, 24 minutes. So thank you guys. I'll be more precise. So we as a board, we're just going to pack up this room, and I suggest we reconvene downstairs in a couple of minutes. And Christina would like to say
Small
something.
organizational announcement. Just before you said that there should be initiative from the bottom, we actually had an initiative from the bottom, so we booked a table in a place called El Mate, and they're waiting us there in
Now?
Let's be super precise, 6 minutes. And it's just around the corner, so it's Shatarostaveli Street, 29B, so it's inside the corner. Me and Alex will be glad to guide you there. Okay?
Great,
Anybody
thank
who's
you.
willing to go there and continue conversations. Yes.
Thank you.